Immigration was supposed to be Canada's economic engine, boosting the workforce, filling labor shortages, and driving growth. But fast forward to 2025, that engine seems to be sputtering. Housing is unaffordable, infrastructure is strained, wages aren't keeping up. And every day, Canadians are starting to ask a tough question. Did Canada bite off more than it could chew? I'm Thuc, your money guy. Today, we are diving deep into why Canada's immigration strategy, once hailed as a solution to economic challenges, is now being criticized as one of the biggest contributors to housing crisis and affordability issues across the country. I'm breaking this down clearly with real data and giving you my honest analysis on what this means for the road ahead. The original plan. Let's start with what the government intended. Canada's population growth strategy was built on immigration. With an aging population and slowing birth rates, immigration was supposed to fill labor gaps, support economic growth, and keep Canada globally competitive. The plan ramped up after the pandemic. Canada set record immigration target, aiming for 500,000 new permanent residents annually by 2025. On top of that, temporary residents like international students and temporary foreign workers to over 1 million in just a few years. On paper, the math seems simple. More people, bigger economy, more tax revenue, more innovation. But what wasn't properly accounted for was housing supply, infrastructure, and time. Immigration scaled up almost overnight, but housing construction and city planning couldn't keep up. It's like inviting hundreds of thousands of guests to a party, but forgetting to build enough rooms for them to stay in. And now we are seeing the consequences. Population growth versus housing supply. Between 2021 and 2024, Canada's population grew by over 3 million people, the fastest pace in modern history. That's like adding the entire population of Toronto in just a few years. Meanwhile, housing completions lagged far behind. Canada would need to build roughly 5.8 million homes by 2030 to restore affordability. But the current pace is nowhere near that. Construction costs are rising, labor is short, and municipal red tape slows projects down. The result? Demand far outstripped supply. Rents in cities like Toronto and Vancouver have soared by 20 to 30% in just 2 years. Home prices, which briefly dipped during interest rate hikes, have started climbing again, despite affordability being at record lows. Even mid-sized cities like Calgary and Halifax, once seen as affordable alternatives, are experiencing price pressures they've never seen before. The pressure on infrastructure and services is not just housing. Infrastructure, transit, healthcare, schools wasn't built for this kind of population boom. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Public transit systems are strained. Class sizes in schools are ballooning. Cities are playing catch up, but funding hasn't kept pace. Infrastructure projects take years, sometimes decades, to complete. So even if the money starts flowing today, the impact won't be immediate. In the meantime, residents are feeling the pressure daily. If you are finding this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Every week, I break down what's really happening with Canada's economy, housing, and your money in a way that's simple, smart, and stress-free. Don't miss it. So let's go into our next topic. Labor market realities. Now let's talk about jobs. One of the key justifications for high immigration was to fill labor shortages. And yes, immigration has helped in some sectors, healthcare, tech, construction. But here's the reality. Not all newcomers are entering high-wage, high-demand jobs. Many end up underemployed or working in sectors that are already competitive. This increases pressure on entry-level and service sector jobs, keeping wages stagnant. Some employers have relied on temporary workers as a way to keep labor costs low. which discourages wage growth across the board. For young Canadians, this has created an environment where housing is expensive, but incomes haven't grown nearly as fast. More people also means more demand for goods and services, everything from groceries to energy. When supply doesn't keep up, that demand fuels inflation. Canada has experienced persistent inflation over the last few years, and while interest rate hikes slowed it down, high immigration levels have added another layer of pressure. This isn't to say immigration caused inflation, but it's a factor. More demand in a supply-constrained environment leads to higher prices, whether that's housing, food, or transit. So when people ask, why is everything getting so expensive? Immigration policy is part of that puzzle. Not the only piece, but a significant one. Public sentiment and political shift. Public opinion has shifted dramatically just a few years ago. Most Canadians supported high immigration levels. Now polls show a majority believe the levels are too high, too fast. Political leaders are starting to respond. The federal government has hinted at capping temporary residents and slowing down growth to give infrastructure and housing a chance to catch up. Some provinces are demanding more control over immigration to match local capacity. This is a big turning point. Immigration has always been a cornerstone of Canada's identity and growth, but the current pace may be unsustainable without major changes. Looking ahead, the road ahead will likely involve a recalibration. Canada needs immigration, that's clear, but it also needs balanced policies, better housing strategies to boost supply, infrastructure investment that matches population growth, smarter immigration selection to align newcomers with labor market needs, more coordination between federal, provincial, and municipal governments. If adjustments aren't made, we risk long-term economic and social consequences. Deeper affordability crisis, strained services, and growing division between newcomers and long-time residents. Immigration was meant to be Canada's superpower, a way to stay young, dynamic, and prosperous. But poor planning and rapid expansion have turned a strength into a stress point. The question isn't whether immigration is good or bad, it's whether Canada has the capacity to do it right. And right now, the system is under real pressure. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button and share it with someone who's trying to make sense of what's happening in Canada right now. I'm Thuc, your money guy, making money simple, smart, and stress-free. See you in the next one.